When Splitgate 2 launched this summer, I was someone who was very high on its gameplay. I loved how fast-paced and focused the gameplay felt, it looked great, and it actually had some clever twists on traditional arena shooter game modes that made it feel fresh and nuanced. When Battle Royale dropped, I fell in love with that as well, loving the fast-paced movement-centric gameplay. It felt like Apex on steroids where getting 20 and 30 bombs felt relatively achievable. I loved all the action, Battle Royale needed that. Fast forward a few months and I just got my hands on the latest Splitgate 2 playtest, as 1047 took the game back to beta as players quickly moved on from the game for a variety of reasons. Players were upset about monetization, which I still claim was BS since the Battle Pass only cost $5 and contained enough currency to get each new successive Battle Pass. It was more about the quality of skins and cosmetics in my opinion. And the Battle Royale mode had some crippling performance issues at times, but I felt for the most part the issues of Splitgate 2 were relatively easy fixes as the core game felt great and was super fun. The 1047 themselves felt differently, stating that they launched too early and needed time to go back to the drawing board. In this video, I'm going to give you my impressions of what I played in this playtest, and give an update on some of the things that 1047 has been tinkering with and considering as the game moves toward a relaunch that will most likely occur in 2026 at this point, considering that we are now in mid-November of 2025. So what was in this playtest? We got to experience Splitgate 2's new factionless loadout system that allows players to equip whatever guns that they want with 3 perks of their choice. There's no more faction ties whatsoever when it comes to your weapons and perks. So think of something more like Halo or Call of Duty. This means that the core abilities for each faction are gone, like the Sabrask shield for example. Some of them have been brought back as power-ups on the map, but they are no longer tied to your character or faction. That's totally gone. 1047 has also included more options for portal counterplay, which at face value isn't a bad thing. EMP grenades from Splitgate 1 are back if you choose to equip them as your grenade in your loadout, and you can also overcharge portal walls by placing both of your portals on a given portal wall. This means that no one else will be able to, including your enemies, portal behind you. This is particularly effective and useful in objectives games where you can essentially just deny teams the ability to portal into an objective or flank by placing both of your portals on a portal wall. Just remember that you're also limiting your own portal options by doing so. The same Splitgate 2 denial exists where you can always just portal over your enemy portals like you always could, which honestly is still my favorite option as it's pretty much the easiest. With that said, I did like the portal wall overcharge option more than I expected. It felt like a strategic choice which dynamically changes how you have to move and portal across the map. EMP grenades on the other hand didn't feel appealing to me whatsoever, given that I can still just cancel enemy portals by placing my portals over them, or just do the new portal wall
Every 2
overcharge.
years or so right now.
I personally think that 1047 is listening a little
I feel
too
like that's
much
just
to the
not
anti-portal
enough.
crowd.
That is
You can
like,
simply
to me,
just
that
go play
feels
the no
insanely
portal
slow.
playlist.
And I'm not saying
There's
it's
a permanent
easy
method of
to
play
design a class.
on
I'm just
Relaunch.
saying that like
1047 has also added 3 light machine guns to
modern
Splitgate 2 in this playtest, which I like. I personally think it's stuff like more weapons, maps, and modes that's going to please players the most if Splitgate 2 is going to have a successful relaunch. I tried all 3 LMGs and there's footage of all 3 in this video. There's LMGs themed after each of Splitgate 2's factions, even though the factions themselves are gone. In this playtest, we could equip the LMGs to our loadouts and use them as primary weapons, which I'm not a huge fan of. I personally think they should be very potent power weapons. As they are balanced right now, they don't feel particularly effective against most of Splitgate 2's other weapons, a lot of which can kill quite quickly, especially with headshots or really up close like a shotgun, and are really more competitively designed. Since LMGs usually have large magazines, they need to be quote-unquote balanced if they're going to be normal weapons, which means they just don't feel great or effective. I'd recommend just making them power weapons and buffing their potency because right now they feel a bit less like spraying your enemies with water. But yeah, more new weapons please, 1047. The weapons in Splitgate 2 in general feel great. The more you add, the better. A remake of the original Splitgate map, Abyss, was also in this playtest, and I liked it as much as any other Splitgate or Splitgate 2 map. I do think there's value to bring the original game's maps over to Splitgate 2, and I don't think that just one is enough. We're going to need at least 3 or 4 new maps at relaunch if this thing's going to make a splash. Battle Royale is not going to be included in Splitgate 2 when it relaunches. It's hopefully going to come back at some point in the future, but not at relaunch. We're going to need more than just a single new map if we're going to impress people returning to the game. And I did notice that there's more portal paths on a lot of the maps. You know, 1047's been talking about that, adding more portal paths and portal options. Again, I didn't have a problem with any of this. It's not a big deal. I don't think it's a huge win that's really going to stick out to most players, except for like the pros and really competitive people. But it's not a bad thing. I noticed it. It's there. So then comes the overall feeling of this playtest. 1047 has clearly tinkered with a great number of things. Time to kill or weapon potency feels different than it does in the current Splitgate 2, and honestly, I didn't like it. Movement felt somewhat slower for some reason, and I didn't like it. I don't know if that's just something specific to this playtest or actual, changes to the game. The game modes in the playtest, at least in this playtest, felt more like traditional arena shooter modes instead of the focused, innovative, round-based competitive modes included with Splitgate 2 at launch. I don't think this helps Splitgate 2 stand out. I think it makes it feel more like every other shooter. And I know there's been feedback about this. Some people saying they wanted things more like Splitgate 1. I'm going to talk about that more later in the video. Again, I don't think these are good changes, in my opinion. And this brings me back to how I feel about the playtest and the things that 1047 has been communicating since going back to beta. Everything about this playtest and the things that I've been hearing, they sound like regressions to me. And now I can say that many of them feel like regressions in practice as well. If there's anything that I could communicate to 1047, it's this. Stop listening to criticism. Like, feedback is okay, but I feel like it's being taken way too seriously. We're taking the wrong lessons from it. When Splitgate 2 launched, yeah, it had some problems. The quality of skins wasn't as high as it should have been. The Battle Royale performance issue was unacceptable. There's tons of modes that probably should have been in the game from the get-go that can still be added, like Infection and One in the Chamber, and other palette cleansing type modes or just fun social casual modes. Takedown is super great and really was super slept on at launch. Like, it's already there, it's great, it's super competitive, and people just kind of ignored it, and it deserves attention. And for all I know, 1047 sitting on a bunch of stuff included in the relaunch, it might be surprising and exciting. I'm sure this November playtest isn't everything, but when Splitgate 2 launched, despite the issues, the game felt good. We just needed more of that. It had bold, polished game design, and it had direction. I really hate that everything has been taken back to the drawing board, and they're messing with stuff that really isn't going to attract or retain any more players. Now, Splitgate 1 didn't get over the hump. I love that game. I played it all the time. It was super underrated and underappreciated. Always was, always will be. But given the fact that it didn't make it, why would you go back to designing the game like that again? Splitgate 2 felt like a step forward from a gameplay and game design perspective, so why are we looking backwards? There's always going to be people that like the original, and that's fine. They made it, always online for a reason. But they need more than that if Splitgate 2 is going to succeed. That's why Splitgate 2 exists. And again, I feel strongly that it's new content that's going to please Splitgate 2 players upon relaunch. Give us some new maps, weapons, better cosmetics, fix the challenge system, fix the rank system, give Takedown some time to shine since Battle Royale will be absent. The portal wall overcharging thing is interesting. All this stuff changing the way the game feels and plays, in my opinion, is misguided. Splitgate 2 always felt good to play. The gunplay and movement was great. The maps were all well designed. I think we're losing a lot of development time here focused on the wrong things, and that really scares me. There were several playtests tinkering with placing caps on the maximum amount of portals you could put out in a certain time frame, and it's not included in this playtest. Luckily, they just ditched that idea. It's such a granular thing that's not gonna affect 90% of players, and the fact that we're worrying about stuff like that. And I know we test a lot of things in game development, I get it, but it really does scare me. If you have questions about anything in the November playtest, I know I didn't hit everything here. The new power-ups, interesting. I've always liked map control type power-ups. They had an overshield in this playtest. They had the speed boost, which right now I think should be an activated thing, not an instant pickup. There's a bunch of stuff I didn't touch on in this video. Please leave a comment down below and I'll answer it for you. I love Splitgate, I always have. I'm a Splitgate MVP, and I will continue to cover the game. I just have to be honest with you guys. This is where we're at right now based on what I played. Where it goes from here is up to 1047. I really do hope that the relaunch is a success. I'm looking forward to hearing more about what will be there when it happens, but I'm certainly going to be playing and streaming it. If you want more Splitgate 2 content, be sure to subscribe to the channel, come find me on Twitch, hit the like or hype button on this video, help me out, and please check out our Kickstarter for our film production studio, just focused on creating live action content based on indie games. There's a link in the description below, and we're filming a Nightmare Reaper short very soon, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching. May Reynolds out. This video is sponsored by G Fuel Energy, a sugar-free energy drink available in both powdered and canned form, and you can get 20% off using code MAYOR at discount. That's just MAYOR, M-A-Y-O-R. Right in checkout, it's going to get you 20% off. There's a ton of good flavors, including this new Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty flavor. If you need a competitive edge, guys, something to keep you up on those late nights, or just get you hyped for whatever the latest release is, look no further than G Fuel Energy and use code MAYOR to get a discount on your order and support my content and channel at the same time.